Alright guys, let's discuss season 3 of Ted Lasso. So in this season, Ted Lasso finds himself split between two worlds, wanting to stay in England to remain coach of AFC Richmond or return home to help raise his son. But before we get into that, they had this nice Christmas Claymation episode that's like 5 minutes. It was okay. I just appreciate the effort they put into it. Not gonna hold you, I was disappointed by this final season, which I'll get into some spoilers after this basic talk. Outside of its like fundamental charm, it felt like this show was a departure from the show we knew. And I'm talking even about the little things, like even the clothes Coach Beard would wear. Before he'd only wear his uniform, and now all of a sudden without explanation, he's wearing regular clothes. Whoa, for him. The soccer side was executed great of the storyline, but the personal side is where I feel they fell the most. And that's because this show doesn't just have charm, it's also written with a lot of nuance and challenges hidden within the jokes. And maybe not more nuance than the world today, the climate, but for what gets produced in entertainment. But to focus on the positives, I'm still likely to recommend this season and very likely to recommend the show overall. So you should check it out. Now for the spoilers. All right, I'm going to use these characters on the poster to discuss spoilers. So let's start with Roy Kent. They executed his story perfectly, showing his growth as a coach, eventually doing the press conference, and his growth as a person realizing his issues. And same can go with Jamie Tart too, showing his childhood, his upbringing, his nurture, and showing how he's overcoming that. Okay, so with Keely, I felt like her story would have been better served as instead of just being a love token for this season and having to be bailed out by Rebecca just like she was in the first season, so reverting back then growing, I'd rather see her wake up from not enjoying the work environment and trying to maybe grow a new business outside of this or find a way out of her partnership with this management, even if it is going to Rebecca. Although the final love plot of her story, they did great with. With Coach Beard, he was already out of uniform at the beginning of the season. I would have loved to see his story play out first to understand why now he's comfortable not being in his uniform as he's embracing his true identity. Stories, Ted, Rebecca, and Nate's were the ones that fell short to me. Nate's being the best out of the three, and mainly that's just because of how they wrote his girlfriend. I know it's for comedic purposes, but her intentions I could never figure out because of how she was put together. So sometimes it made it hard to tell whether she truly loved him or not, at least for the right reasons. But I could let all of that slide compared to Safe, McGee, Ted Lasso, and Rebecca. The ending to their love stories were so safe and predictable, and even then confusing, especially for Ted. I don't understand what hold this woman has on Ted. I don't understand that whole love dynamic there, at least from what was presented to us. I don't get why he's simping so hard for her. And for Rebecca, it's like a deus ex machina, or however you pronounce that story tool. The perfect love just comes out of nowhere twice. After all this build up and everything, these people took away that beautiful transition edit from season 1 to give us this. They started a love story with her and old boy. They didn't even give him an ending to his love story. But looking at the positives, I love what all the players went through, their camaraderie, the restaurant, relationships. Jamie Tart's story was very beautiful. Yeah, but those are just my thoughts. But what